Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. My name is George Coles, and on this episode we're doing Who Was Better. The topic for this Who Was Better, two guys that are associated with each other right now and have been on and off for the last 5 or 6 years or so. And that's the gold standard Shelton Benjamin and Montel Vontavious Porter, aka MVP. Now if you haven't seen my Who Was Better videos previously, we grade everything on a 1 to 5 scale in 8 different categories. 1 is the worst, 5 is the best. At the end we total up the points. There is a chance for 5 bonus points, and we'll get there at the end when I talk about that. With that being said, let's jump right in. Our first category, technical wrestling. Now for Shelton, this is a no-brainer. Shelton is getting a 5. In the time since he's been a wrestler, Shelton Benjamin has been in the top 5 to 10 technical wrestlers in the world, and a lot of times high in the top 5. He's an extremely skilled grappler. I mean, obviously he came from the University of Minnesota. He's an All-American at amateur wrestling. He has the pedigree. He can basically do anything you want him to inside of the ring. That's why he gets a 5. Now for MVP, MVP's getting a 3. MVP, while he's not bad at the technical wrestling, he's right about average. I don't think he excels. I don't think he's bad. I think he's good enough to keep a match going. That's why he gets a 3. Now, as far as striking, Shelton's going to get a 5 here as well. Just like I said with technical wrestling, there is not one aspect of the in-game wrestling that Shelton doesn't excel at. Shelton's strikes are some of the best looking in all of pro wrestling. Shelton is highly skilled between the ropes. Like I said, he's probably one of the top 5 and maybe even higher than top 5 in-ring wrestlers since he's debuted. Now going over to MVP. MVP's going to get a 4 here. Now this, I think, is MVP's in-ring strong suit. His mafia kick, his strikes, he looks brutal. He looks like he's hurting you. And that's what you want. You want it to look realistic. You want it to look like you're getting your head kicked in. You want there to be the question of, did that really hit him? And when you watch an MVP match, you get that question. Extremely skilled, again, both these guys at striking. Now our next category, how they perform as a heel. For Shelton, I'm giving Shelton a 3. And the reason for that is, if it wasn't for MVP or other people managing him or being the leader of his faction, whether that be Suzuki-gun or Team Angle back in the day, you would never ever believe Shelton Benjamin is a heel. He's just too good in the ring and he's too likable to be a heel. He's not bad at it, and when he's put in the roles, whether that be him and Haas, whether that be him as part of Suzuki-gun, whether it be part of the Hurt Business or Hurt Syndicate, whichever one you want to call them, he does his job well. I just don't think it's natural to. Now for MVP gets a 5 at this category. I'm one of those people that doesn't understand why MVP wasn't a world champion in his first run in WWE, or for that matter, in TNA or anywhere else that he's been. I think MVP is one of the better heels of the last 2 decades, and probably longer because he's been wrestling a little bit longer than that. I don't know why he just hasn't got that, broken through that glass ceiling. Guys like him in that Ruthless Aggression era, him, Carlito, Mr. Kennedy, these were guys I thought were going to be, that next level going for the next decade. And don't get me wrong, this is not a knock on any of those 3. I think the company actually failed them instead of them failing the company. Now going from that, how they perform as a babyface. For Shelton, Shelton's getting a 5. Like I said, there's just something about him that you want to like. He's extremely athletic. He comes off as likable. He comes off as someone that you would want to be friends with. He is what, if I had control of the company, he is someone I would build my babyface roster around as one of my top babyfaces. I think he definitely deserves to be up there near the top. That's why I say I consider him a 5 as a babyface. Now for MVP, I'm giving him a 4. All the things that make MVP a great heel are the same things that make him a great babyface, and that happens a lot in wrestling, whether you're Ric Flair, CM Punk, Randy Orton, even Triple H. The carryover is very similar. Once you get to that level where you're a great heel, it's easy to transform into a great babyface. I do think that MVP is better suited to be a heel. That's why he's a little bit lesser here. But I do think he makes a great babyface too. He's a great shit talker. He's a great instigator. He's a great guy to trip up a heel and get them to agree to something that they're not supposed to agree to, like a match or a stipulation. I love MVP. That's why he gets a 4 here. Now, coming up next, promos. Unfortunately for Shelton is going to have a 2 here. And this is the one thing that I think held Shelton Benjamin back from being a world champ. If Shelton Benjamin could have at least been serviceable at promos, I think he would have been a multiple-time world champion. If he could have raised himself at least to be average, with everything else that he has going for him, I think that's where he would have been. Unfortunately, he's not the worst promo ever. He's not Jeff Farmer. I would consider him a negative on the promo side. He's less than average. And I hate to say that because I'm a fan of Shelton Benjamin. I just don't think he has it in him. Now going over to MVP. MVP gets a 5 here. I brought it up in our previous couple categories talking about him here. MVP is the kind of wrestler that could talk you into a building, talk you into buying the tickets, talk you into buying the pay-per-view, have you believing in the feud, have you believing in the wrestler he's managing or working with at the time. To me, I think he's a great talker. I think he's highly underrated in that category. That's why I say he's a 5. Now going for presentation, I'm giving both these guys a 4. And I like them in the suits. I like their gear, whether it be Shelton in the Team Angle look or MVP in the scuba gear look, which took me a while to get used to and like. When he first started doing it, I thought it looked dumb. But once you get used to it, it's just normal, especially when he would wear it without the sleeves. I thought it looked better without the sleeves, and, just my opinion. The reason I don't think they quite get up into that 5 category is you don't really hear anybody talk about Shelton Benjamin's theme music as an all-timer, or MVP's, any of their theme music during any of their incarnations. And you don't talk about, other than their gear maybe being a little silly on MVP's side, that's why he gets a little bit of a knock. There's nothing really special to it. If you took a pair of Shelton Benjamin's trunks that didn't say Shelton Benjamin on it or Team Angle, and you put them next to Randy Orton's trunks without Randy Orton's name on them, or trying to think of someone that has that similar style of like bicycle shorts, Carlito, if you put him next to Carlito without the imaging, you wouldn't know what the difference is. I mean, he has that kind of generic, ruthless aggression look to his presentation. Like I said, I think they're presented well. I just can't put them in the top tier. Now going from that, we're going on our next category, charisma. This is probably going to surprise people, but I'm going to give Shelton Benjamin a 4. And I know a lot of charisma people tie into their speaking ability, but there's something inertly charismatic about Shelton. It's kind of a similar thing to what Jeff Hardy has. Jeff Hardy's not a great talker either, but people are just drawn to him. And it's the same way with Shelton. Maybe not as extreme of an example as Jeff Hardy, but he has that. He has that capability for you to love and want to cheer for him. So for that, he gets a 4. Now for MVP, MVP's getting a 5. MVP checks all the boxes on everything you need to be a great talker, a great professional wrestler. Like I said, I am shocked he was never even considered to be a world champion at any point. I'm just surprised that, I don't know, maybe I'm over-evaluating him here. If I am, let me know in the comments. But I think he's one of the most charismatic wrestlers there is. I put him up there with like an Eddie Kingston. I'll put him up there with like CM Punk, similar to that style. And what I mean by that is he has that believability that you connect to. That charisma comes from him just being him. For that, he gets a 5. Now our last category, big game performance. This is how they perform in the main events, in title matches, at the pay-per-views, at WrestleMania, whatever it may be. For Shelton is getting a 5. There is not a part of Shelton's in-ring game that I can knock. And when he has been put in big situations, U.S. title matches, Money in the Bank matches against high-profile wrestlers, he's always given a great match. For that, I have to give him a 5. I think he's one of the best in-ring talents, and I know I've said this 17,000 times on this video, that I could think of over the last 20 years or so. Now for MVP I'm going to have to give a 3. And he hasn't had as much opportunity as Shelton, in my opinion. However, I also don't think he's taken the ball and ran with it when he had the opportunity, when he could have built himself to something. And maybe that's why he wasn't a world champion. Maybe he just didn't have that extra gear that someone, and I'm not knocking MVP, I'm a huge fan, as you can see by my ratings here. But say, for instance, John Cena. John Cena got knocked for a very long time for not being able to wrestle. But when you go back and watch it, in his big matches, he put on great performances. He stepped up his game. Maybe, I mean, to me, that's where I think MVP lacked a little bit. He didn't quite give his best performances on the biggest stages or when he had a chance to, so I have to give him a 3. Now, overall, for Shelton Benjamin, Shelton's getting a 33. For MVP, MVP's also getting a 33. Now, here's where that bonus comes in that I mentioned in the beginning. Every Wednesday, I put a poll on my posts page here on YouTube or as a community, whatever it's called. I think it's called posts now. They've changed the name of it a couple times. But I digress. And it's simply, who do you think is better? And whoever wins that poll gets 5 bonus points. So basically, this is the viewer choice category. And it's an all or nothing category. You either get 5 or you get 0. With that being said, the winner of a poll by a landslide, Shelton Benjamin. Which kind of, again, made me think maybe I'm over-evaluating MVP. I must be crazy because I guess I see something in him that a lot of people don't. I think it would have been a lot closer. I think there would have been a lot more MVP fans. But hey, I get it. Shelton's awesome. Don't get me wrong. He deserves a win. He's an awesome wrestler. Shelton does pick up the win here. Congratulations to the gold standard, Shelton Benjamin. I am going to say, with the upcoming week and holiday coming up, I am going to take this weekend off when I normally record the videos. So next week there's not going to be any live videos. I might try and fit them in if I can, but don't expect it. I am still going to put up a poll Wednesday, but I'm going to let it run until I do the video, so you're going to have extra time to vote. But I am going to take a week off for the holiday weekend. There's some stuff around the house I need to do, stuff I need to take care of. My landlords are wanting to do some renovations in the house, so there's some things that need to be done to get that taken care of as well. But I digress. Keep paying attention. Look at that post page or messages page or whatever it's called and vote in the poll. And when I do make their next video, it'll be on there. With all that being said, my name is George Coles, and you've been watching Who Was Better.